Welcome, Pisces, to your in-depth weekly astrology overview and zodiac forecast for week commencing the 9th of March for the ascendant, the sun, or the moon. I'm going to share with you, first of all, the big themes of the week, and there's some very dramatic news to share. Then on screen is your event chart on Monday, always influential as a backdrop. I'll unpack that. Then I'll go through each of the influences frame by frame to give you a clear picture by the end of the video in terms of your relationships, finance, energy, and work prospects. I'm astrologer Patrick Arundell. A very warm welcome. If you've yet to subscribe to the channel, please do so now to help it to continue to thrive. This is a week when your traditional ruler of Jupiter ends a 4-month retrograde. If you have found since the 11th of November, things have been a bit stuck, things can really travel forwards now in such a dynamic way. Please stay with me and I'll tell you how right through to the end of June. But also, this is a week which begins with Saturn and Venus very close together. There may have been a crunch point for you at the end of last week in a relationship or around a financial matter. How will that play out this week? We also have Mercury continuing its retrograde, and in your zodiac sign can mean that things are a bit stop-start. But Mercury actually forges two amazing links this week to two other players. I can't wait to share that with you too. So on the screen, Pisces, is your event chart. And there's that cluster of energy in your zodiac sign. And the recent addition of Mars is bringing more dynamism to bear. And Mars is going to bring a really special help to you on Friday, but I'll get to that shortly. I mentioned about Jupiter going direct on Wednesday, but if we look at the position of Mercury, despite its retrograde in your sign on Monday, it's in an exact trine with Jupiter. Jupiter may be in Cancer, it may be exalted, and Jupiter may be about expansion, good fortune, and hope, but it's also your ruler, and that's much more of a spiritual or self-expressive dimension. And I think this link between Jupiter and Mercury can help you at the start of the week to get really in touch with your soul purpose, to feel what you need because of the water hosting of both planets. And of course, there is some mutual receptivity. Jupiter, the ruler of your sign, and still in a very strong link with the sun, one of astrology's most bubbly and optimistic ones that did forge last week. But last week did culminate with Saturn and Venus in an exact conjunction. And if you do remain a little bit uncertain about where you stand around a financial matter or even a relationship, that would be understandable. Saturn does bring some real brevity to the potential joy that Venus can bring. But just be reassured, Pisces, by the middle of this week, Venus has inched away from Saturn and actually forges a very strong link with Pluto. Even if you're unsure of who's with you at the start of the week, from the middle of the week for the following week, you're going to get some very key reassurance. But just who comes through might be a little bit of a surprise. There may even be a connection to someone that has a romantic dimension to it, but someone might not articulate that. So watch out for someone's body language. However, also from Wednesday, Jupiter goes direct. And the significance of it is if we go back to when Jupiter first moved into Cancer last May, a lot of astrologers on YouTube would have been saying how amazing that could be for you, particularly romantically. The problem was that at the time Jupiter arrived, Saturn was in the part of your chart where he is now, but they were in an exact square, which reached the peak on the 15th of June last year. So when it comes to being enterprising, good fortune, the fifth house can be about risk and speculation. If you did try to punt any money, it might not have come back to you quite as you would have liked. And also around romance or sociability, possibly money or some other issue may have inhibited things too. But from now through to the end of June, can be a much more playful, vibrant time for you. And you can really launch that effort from this week, not least because as the week goes on, Mars is going to be connecting with the North Node. And that's really encouraging you to trust your instincts, but then take action. That happens on Friday. But then Mercury retreating meets Mars in an exact conjunction on Sunday. If there's something you really believe in, you can be very single minded in going for it. Imagine taking on the guise of the most extreme Aries person. Whether you've had a good experience or not, Aries people can initiate and they can show courage and they can get on the front foot. And you can be in the mind to do that and be very dynamic as this week draws to a close. So, to summarize, Pisces, when it comes to your financial picture, yes, there may be a bit of a concern that shows up at the start of this week, and it may be one you need to work on over the next 2 years with Saturn full time in your second house. Except that Venus in the second house can be very enterprising and does forge a link brilliantly with Pluto at the heart of the week and suggest a connection to someone can be very reassuring, but equally it could be an old talent or skill that you repackage and use in a new way, which does start to bring in a new source of income. When it comes to your energy, I think you can have a lot, and that will be improved by Jupiter going direct at the heart of the week. But when it comes to sheer romance and fun, Jupiter going direct from the middle of the week, Wednesday, through to the end of June, is a real genuine window of opportunity. It won't be inhibited like it was before by the rather grouchy energy of Saturn. Thank you so much for joining me. If you've yet to watch your March deep dive, please watch that now on screen, or your Venus in Aries deep dive video. And if you'd like to work with me one-to-one, please check out my testimonials below. If you'd like to order your personal horoscope, they're great value, very accurate, totally unique to each person they're produced for. And if you apply at the checkout Astro 26 to the Natal, you'll get 50% off. If you want to order your soul karmic energy charts, the Draconic, please apply Draco 26 at the checkout and you'll get 50% off. Have a great week, all the best, and goodbye.